Hi friends, it's day 17 on this 30 books in 30 days challenge. I'll leave links to parts 1 and 2 if you haven't caught them. I'm sick right now. There's nothing really doing today except for drinking lots of tea, lemon sip, strepsil, and hopefully getting some reading done. So the books that I'm going to try and read today are, I'm going to try and read, well, I've already started The Hills of Estrella, Roja. This is a graphic novel. It's about a town where there's these devil lights that are being seen by people, and Kat, who's a podcaster on all things mysterious and weird, decides she's going to go to that town and check it out. And also our other character is also in that town because her grandmother recently died. And I think there's like a queer relationship, but it's also like gothic, spooky, what are these devil lights? So that's what this one is. And I'm also going to start reading, or I've started reading, can you sense a theme here? I'm going to start reading One of Us is Back by Karen M. McManus. This is the third and final book in the young adult murder mystery kind of thriller series set at Bayview High. This is the proof and it looks really cool. It looks like a yearbook. I've read 50 pages, and the thing about this series is that every single book adds new characters. Like, you had the first set, there was murder, great, and then in the next set they come back again with new characters, and like, I don't think we could deal with any new characters, so I seriously hope they don't introduce any new characters in this book, because there's so many characters, there's so many points of view that I'm struggling a little bit, but I'll get there. I'm here for it. If I could read War and Peace with all of those thousands of characters, I could read this young adult thriller. And all I have to say is that we've seen Nate from Nate's point of view, and I just loved Nate. I just shipped Nate and Bronwyn so very much, and I kind of ship Phoebe and Knox, even if Phoebe's being a little bit annoying in this one. Let's do some reading. I am meal prepping, which is what I have to do because I plan to not be here tomorrow, and if I'm not here tomorrow it means that my sister's here alone and I need to get food ready for her for the rest of the day. So I'm just meal prepping some Brussels sprouts for the dinner that I'm leaving with her, because it's good to have vegetables with dinner. But I wanted to give you a bit of a reading update. So I am halfway through The Hills of Estrella Roja, and it's fine. I like our main characters. Because this is a proof copy, the colour waves don't go all the way through the book. It's only there at the beginning, so you get a taste of what it's like. And I like the colours that the book has, and I know that the full edition has. I like all of the colours, and I think the artwork works well for the story. The story itself is quite slow going, but also quite fast, as in I'm turning pages quickly because there's not that much text on each page. Like, sometimes you go through a few pages where there's not that much text, and sometimes there's a few where there's quite a bit more text. So it's going quickly in that regard, but it's also slow in terms of actually getting to the creepy elements of the story. It is taking its sweet time. So we're halfway through, and it's only just starting to pick up the pace on the strange things that are happening in Estrella Roja. So I'm just going to keep reading. I don't have much of a big opinion right now, other than it's fine, and I'm looking forward to seeing where things pick up. But meanwhile, I'll just be doing meal prep and again snoozing some more because I'm still in recovery mode. But other than blowing my nose 10,000 times today and having lots of naps, I feel recovered enough to maybe go to Newcastle for booktube meets tomorrow, so fingers crossed that I can. I need to leave tonight at about 9:30 if I want to make it, so I'm just hoping that by 9:30 I feel even better. Okay, so I'm here to do a little bit of an update. So I finished reading The Hills of Estrella Roja. It was a nice read. I do think it picked up a bit at the end there, and it added a bit more to the spookiness of the story. So I liked it. I don't think this is one that's going to linger with me for a long time, but it was a good time if you like a queer, sapphic, spooky story. We've got a bisexual main character, and I think the other one doesn't say her sexuality actually. So we know we've got one bisexual character and just one queer character. And it was a nice time. It had a good ending. It got to where it needed to. It was wholesome. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then I've got a bit of a reading update on One of Us is Back, which I'm halfway through. I just love the way Karen M. McManus writes high school drama. You can read this for the thrillers, you can read this for the mystery, but to be honest, I don't care about that any which way. It's nice to see it unravel, but I'm just here for all of the high school drama, relationship drama, family drama that happens around the school, even though they spend literally no time within the school in this particular book. I'm still so here for it. Honestly, every time we're in Nate's perspective, you can just see how much he loves Bronwyn, like through and through, from his actions from previous books to this book. Even though I'm not fully better, I'm not like flu sick anymore. I think I'm just like strong cold sick. So I'm still going to be going to Newcastle, where there'll be booktube meets happening. This is an event where there's some booktubers meeting up, and also some people who are subscribers or who are just fans of booktubers coming together in Newcastle. It's hosted by Hannah from Tbh I'm, and I'll be speaking on a panel with Gavin, Becca, and also Lianne, so that's going to be lovely. I'm going on an overnight coach, so I'm literally just about to leave, and I'll be travelling through the night, arrive there in the early morning, have food out, meet some booktube friends, chill with them, go to the event, have a chill booktube dinner, and then travelling once again through the night back to London. And then I sincerely believe that I will probably have made my cold worse, so I'm just going to take Sunday to rest, recuperate, recover, and maybe read. Hi friends, so I think my voice is definitely improving, and so I can do a video clip for you guys now. Over the weekend I went to Newcastle for booktube meets, and you've seen all of that footage. It was just so lovely to be able to go and to meet some of you, but also to like meet Gavin, who I've been following for just a very long time, and then get to see like Abby and Becca and Hannah and Lizzie. It was just such a heartwarming, friend-filled occasion, and getting to speak on the panel was really cool. I did not have much of a voice that day, so it was a bit hard for me to speak. I appreciate everyone who was very patient with me and my voice. And then I completely lost it the day that I returned, and I took a few steps back in my health journey because probably I shouldn't have gone because I wasn't 100% better. But I wanted to give you a bit of an update on the books, because this 30 books in 30 days challenge is why we are here. And I finished it because I could borrow the ebook from my library, and I read that on my way there and on my way back. And this was absolutely just the perfect ending to the Bayview trilogy. I actually got quite emotional and nostalgic when I finished it, because I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to go back to these characters anymore. So in this one, I really talked about how we are revisiting the same characters. There's no new characters, for which I'm grateful, because there were quite a few from the first book to the second book. But what I just love about how that has manifested in this series is that couples that you see start off together in the first book, you get to see them throughout their romantic journey. You get to see them like 2 years later down the line to where they get get to, which is just so nice, because often I talk about this a lot, romance books set up the romance and they're happy together and then it ends. You don't get to see them have to work through some of the everyday things of being a couple. So you get to see some couples that have been established from the beginning, like where they get to by the end of the series. You get to see some couples who don't make it. You get to see that some couples who just get together in this book, and it's just perfect and lovely, and it made me so happy. It sounds like I didn't read this for the mystery or the thriller, because I didn't. I was here for the romances that are in the background. I was here for the characters and their journeys and their relationships and their friendships and all of the high school drama that came around all of that. What I can say is I can't rate this book higher because the mystery element to this one is just so mediocre. I do find the mysteries are not the best. It has some suspense there. It has some moments where I'm like, oh really? Oh no, what are they gonna do? But it also has a lot of moments where the villain is telling you everything that's in their plan and explaining it for you, because none of the characters piece things together themselves until it's too late. And there aren't really like set clues that you can figure out. There's lots of things that you can be suspicious of, but you do really have to wait for the book to get there. So if you're planning to solve it yourself, you can't quite follow enough clues to get there, but you can have fun with the reveals. It's a good time. It's just not the best mystery thriller. I think the mystery and thriller elements to this are just okay, and it heavily relies on the police being incompetent, because it has to be for teenagers to be doing the solving. I have read 4 different Karen and McManus books, 3 of which have been in this series, and I will just keep reading them all because I find them so entertaining. No one writes high school drama like Karen and McManus does. I also started Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This is translated from Japanese. Who is the translator? It's not on the cover. It's not on the cover, but this is translated from Japanese. I don't really know what this one is about. On the back it says, how far would you go just to be yourself? Maybe that will give you more of an indication of what it's about. But as far as I've read, I've only read the first chapter, but from what I understand from the first chapter is we're following this young girl. She's got a cousin, and it seems like she feels very excluded from her family, like they don't like love her or really care about her. Nothing she can do is right, and he as well seems to, as far as I can understand, have some stuff going down on his end as well. And they kind of, you know, as kids, you know, pretend to get married, pretend to be in love, and they say like, hold out for me till I can see you next summer. So it seems like they both have stuff going down, and their friendship and relationship is the only thing keeping them both going. And then today I whizzed through, I started and I finished Patina by Jason Reynolds. This is the second book in the track series about Jason Reynolds, and it's about these kids who do track. They are black kids. They are really young. It's a middle grade series, and all of them have individually been going through some stuff, some emotional stuff, and they find peace and solace through whatever they run on the track. Patina is doing relay in this one, and she's kind of new to relay, so she's learning how to be part of a relay team. And as well as that, her mum is too ill and disabled to be able to look after her, so she's being looked after by her aunt and her uncle. I loved her relationship with both her mum but also her guardians, who are her aunt and her uncle, and her younger sister. Her close bond with her younger sister, the way she looks out for her, the way she isn't annoyed by her, I loved all of that so very much. And in this one she just has so much learning to do about how winning is not the end of and beginning of everything, and they have to go through quite a lot as a family, lots of tests and tribulations and difficult moments, but just seeing the way the track team are there for each other all the time, the found family vibes they give each other, and how they learn together and grow together, just it hit me so hard. And I don't know if it's because like I'm ill and I'm feeling more emotionally vulnerable, or just the way it was written. It was just getting me so much. It's also written in a way that just feels unashamedly black, from the way that the characters speak, but also to like Patina doing her hair, and Patina just, there were just so many moments where I was like, oh yeah, that's representative of the culture. That's really well woven in a way that doesn't feel on the nose, but also gets to the point very quickly. It's as long as it needs to be. It was fantastic. This was a new favourite for me, and it was also book 21 out of 30. Because I enjoyed that book so much, I thought I would just continue on and start reading Sunny, which is the 3rd book in the series. Sunny is my favourite character from all of them so far, from what I can tell, and he is the long distance runner. So this is going to be about long distance running, not the kind of running that I do. When I was good at sports day, I would always be sprint. And in this one, so Sunny doesn't really like running, but he does it to feel close to his mother and his father, and his mother especially because his mother has passed away, and he wants to actually do something else. He wants to do dancing. So it's about, it feels kind of High School Musical, you know, when you're good at one thing but you also want to do another thing. Oh, let's just take a little lie down on my floor. What's my hair doing? Yeah, just a little floor lie down. So I forgot to tell you what day it is. It's actually day 20 of the challenge, and I'm now halfway through Sunny by Jason Reynolds, and I'm just really disappointed because Sunny's my favourite character, but he sounds really young and immature from the way that this is written. I also showed you that it's written in a Dear Diary format, and that's not my favourite format to read in. It just feels a bit distant and one step removed from everything, because we hear about everything that's happened in hindsight rather than hearing about it as it's happening, and so it just makes me feel one step removed from all of the action. Also, it's very much in Sunny's writing style, and he sounds so young. He's very onomatopoeic, so he's like, this happened and it sounded like whoosh whoosh, and it made me feel like skappity boop ba, and I'm just like, stop saying all of these childish sounds. You're not actually as young as you sound because of making those musical noise sounds. So the onomatopoeic element to this is really frustrating. And while I like the message that's deeper rooted in this, how maybe your parents have a plan for you and what you want for them or what you want for yourself is different from what your parents want, and the pivoting and trying something new just because you don't like what's been foisted upon you and you're choosing your own way. I like all of that messaging to the book, but I'm not liking the writing style. I'm not liking the way that Jason Reynolds chose to write it. Okay, so I finished the book and my feelings are the same. I don't really like this one, honestly. I'm just so utterly disappointed because I was so excited going in. It had some of the same beats as the others, such as like a moment where they all have to show up for each other, and the coach in this whole series is amazing, and you can see it in this one too, how he adapts even though he doesn't know a lot to best support and suit Sunny as he can. But it just didn't work. So much was amiss for me. This one is the one that is most about grief, and yet it just did not hit the beats of effectiveness on the grief storyline as I thought and hoped and wanted it to. Yeah, that was just a no from me, so that was a big disappointment. We are on day 21 of this challenge. We are going strong. Yesterday I made tikka tofu wraps from the cookbook, which you saw. I didn't get a very good shot of the wrap at the end. I think it's so hard to photograph or make a good film of what a wrap looks like when it's all together without it breaking down. I'm not a food photographer, so I didn't succeed, but they were good. And today I've just been working from home. It's my first day working again since I've been ill. That's what I'm doing today, and I want to give you an update on reading as well because I started 2 new books. So yesterday I only literally read, how many pages? 5. I read the prologue to Things My Son Needs to Know About the World by Fredrik Backman. This is a non-fiction Fredrik Backman book where he's kind of dedicated it to his son, just talking about things that he thinks his son needs to know, and they're also very enjoyable, and they make me laugh because the way he's written it is full of humour. I think Fredrik Backman's humour comes across in his books quite a bit, but they're often quite sad books as well. So the fact that the humour can shine at the forefront of this book is really, really nice and a bit different. So I'm looking forward to reading this, but I think I'm going to read it bit by bit over the next few days rather than zoom through it all in one day. Instead, I'm zooming my way through The House Trap by Emma Reed. This is a middle grade book. I know I said I was going to take a break from middle grade, but then I realized no, I'm actually in the mood for middle grade. I'm just going to keep riding that high. So this is a middle grade book which is slightly creepy. It's set in this house where these children go in, and once they go in, the door locks behind them and they've got to solve these riddles and clues to get out. So it's got some of the creepy elements to it, as in it's a haunted house, but Also, it's got the escape room, puzzling through, solving these riddles to escape. I'm actually halfway through already, and so far I like it. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, because I wanted this to be very escape room focused, and I wanted it to be like puzzling bits and pieces to get out the escape room. While it is that, it's also largely got to do with this like historical mystery that they are solving as they do the puzzling that's escape room-esque. So you're getting a bit of like historical fiction elements, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want to hear about these people from the past or why the house is the way it is. I just wanted them to be stuck in the house and need to get out. So it's a readjustment of my expectations, but I do like it. I do think the characters are quite nice. There's a focus on friendship as a core theme here. She feels insecure about the fact that she's so nerdy, and it's been nice to kind of see her appreciate the fact that she is nerdy, that she is smart, that she does like things like maths, and that is okay. But I am going to a mystery themed dinner tonight that's being hosted by Book Break. We will have a 3-course meal, and there will be 3 mystery books that are the focus, and we'll hear readings from the authors, and I'm very excited. Hopefully I'll also get to see some Bookstagram friends while I am there. Friends, I have hit rock bottom. I am chilling on my bed. Rule number 1 of being an insomniac is that you do not chill on your bed. You don't do anything on your bed except sleep. This is not good. So yesterday evening I was at the Book Break dinner that I mentioned. It was just as good as I hoped it was going to be. It was lovely to hear from the authors. The food was actually amazing. I had a very, very good pasta, and it was a really, really great time. Got to talk to Lizzie, who was the author I was sitting next to, and then also got to catch up with some really nice bookster friends. So I'm very, very grateful for having been able to go to that, and I've got some very good historical fiction and mystery books to read next year. I did also, just before I left, managed to finish reading The House Trap by Emma Reed, which was the middle grade book I was reading, and I remember telling you that I had to readjust my expectations with this one a lot, and I liked it in the end, and I liked where the book got to in the end. It just wasn't one that stood out to me a lot, but I think if you've got a child who's reading Goosebumps, who's reading those books where you need to like puzzle over things and add them up, if they like a bit of history, Enola Holmes vibes, they will probably like this book as well. And if you're an adult who reads Enola Holmes and that kind of thing, you will probably like this book as well. So it was a good enough read. It just didn't really pop my bubble. That sounds really weird. We are now on day 22, just for context. So today all I've done is work from home, and I'm not going anywhere for the rest of the day. I'm not doing anything. But I don't really want to do anything. I'm kind of in the mood to do nothing. I'm not even in the mood to read, which is not good when you're in a reading challenge, because this is an ideal day. This is a day where I should finish a book. So I've got the 2 books here that I can be reading, and I have been reading. So since talking to you, I started reading Red Dust Road by Jackie Kay. This is her memoir. I've read a play by Jackie Kay before and some of her poetry, and she is a Black Scottish woman from Glasgow who is also a lesbian, and she is adopted by white parents. And so in this memoir she's kind of, or at least in this memoir it was supposed to be about her experience finding out about her adoptive parents and what that was like for her, what it was like when she reconnected to them. I'm at the halfway mark so far. I've been reading this morning, and I read a bit on my lunch break, and it is about that, but it's so everyday. I don't often rate people's lives when I rate a memoir. I'm often talking about the writing style and the things around it and how it's told. But so if I'm going to go into the minutiae of that, I do think the way it's told is not really working for me. It's not a chronological timeline. It doesn't start at the beginning when she's younger, growing up with her white parents, discovering she's adopted, and then meeting her birth parents. What actually happens is she meets her birth parents, then we go back to the beginning, and then it's about her life and different stages of her life, kind of vignettes of her life at different time periods, mostly going in chronological order, interspersed with experiences that she has with her birth parents when she meets them, which is actually not that often. And so I'm just a bit confused as to why it was written in this unchronological way, because I don't think the creative way of structuring this book has added anything to the story necessarily. And then it's quite everyday. The way that her parents are portrayed, as she doesn't get to know them that well, means that it's not very in-depth. Like, you see one side of her parents that feels very flat, and that might be the case for her as well, because she doesn't actually spend that much time with them. And the way that she finds them is fairly easy, which is kind of interesting that it is actually that easy for her to do so. So actually, I'm thinking, because I'm not in the mood to read, I might check if my library has this on audiobook and then listen to the audiobook while I do some ironing. Things My Son Needs to Know About the World by Fredrik Backman. And in these first 25 pages, it's a lot about poop, you know? It's a lot about poop. I've looked after kids, there's more to life than poop. But that's the first 25 pages when his son is like just born, and I'm hoping that it's going to improve, but so far I'm not that impressed with what he's chosen to focus on in this book. I'm just feeling a little bit like I'm very sad that I finished the last book in the Bayview High trilogy, and I'm in a little bit of a book hangover because of Karen and McManus. Who would have thought? Okay, I'm just about to go to sleep because it's actually quite late at night, and I've done all of the ironing that needed to be done today, which is amazing. But I also managed to finish listening to Red Dust Road by Jackie Kay, and oh my goodness, what a complete change of mood. Literally the page after I complained about it and I gave my checkup, everything started to improve. It streamlined and it focused its story and narrative on the adoptive section, on her culture coming from Nigeria, but also from Scotland and Glasgow, and what it's like to be mixed race. All of it was suddenly harrowed and focused, and exactly what I wanted when I picked up this book. So now I just have no idea what to rate this book or what to think of it, because I think the first half was really slow, really unstructured, and didn't really amount to much of anything. But then the second half of this was brilliant and very insightful, and also just very honest, and it was giving me everything that I wanted about a woman who's kind of discovering who she is, and also wondering why she feels like she needs to look into her birth parents and her birth history to be able to find out who she is, when she's actually been very happy with her adoptive parents and everything that they've done for her, and also considering how her adoptive parents and sibling feel about this whole endeavor. The second half was just so good. Finished, and this is book number 24 out of 30. I'm back in my reading mojo. I'm excited to read again. I think it's literally because I was just reading 2 books that I was feeling mediocre about. It's day 23 of this reading challenge. I'm super proud of myself because I went to the dentist today, which I've not done for over a year, so glad to have finally done that today. But the important thing is reading and how that's going. So as I was again working from home, tomorrow I'm going to go back into the office, which will be my first time back in the office since I was ill. But also it's a Friday, so I don't anticipate there being too many people there. But I've been reading in the mornings just because I've been working from home and then taking a bit of time to read on my lunch break. So I started reading the Undying of Obedience Wellrest by Nicholas Bowling. This is I don't know what this is, like it's not middle grade, but it's not exactly older young adult. I think it's that young adult category of the 12 to 15 where they're quite on the younger end. And I wanted this one because it's about a gravedigger who is called Ned, and the bodies are being stolen from the grave that he works at with his grandfather. And then on the other hand of that, we've got Obedience, who is this young girl her dad is trying to marry her off. This is historical fiction, by the way, set in the 1800s. Her dad is trying to marry her off, but also the person she's trying to marry her off to is someone who's really interested in science and seems to be getting up to some notorious things, and she's trying to figure out what it is. But I actually went into this one because I wanted to know more about the gravedigger situation. I love everything to do with grief, and I thought it'd be interesting to get something that's slightly awry and slightly strange, but also to do with graves and cemeteries. I will always read that. But the person who gets the most focus in this is not the gravedigger boy, it is the girl. So I was like, oh no, we're not hearing that much about the gravedigger boy. And he also seems really like he's really simple in the way that he thinks. He's very much a himbo. That's what I'm trying to say. He's very much a himbo, and he really wants to please and be really lovely. And she just does not seem to think much of him. And I don't know if this is heading towards a romance, but if it is, I kind of hope it isn't, because I just don't really like the way that she kind of has written him off so quickly. And I'm halfway through the book now, and she just does not care about him whatsoever. She is one-track minded, all for herself, which is all fine and dandy, but because he's such a lovely cinnamon roll, he deserves someone better. Not me reading romance into this when it's actually mostly a mystery about what is happening to these bodies, who is digging them up, and it's just not focusing enough on like the grave and the grief element that I was looking for, or even the creepy element. It's very much a contemporary mystery where someone's taking the bodies. Who is it? Let's figure it out. There's no creepy element to it. It's really just like the setting. Partially is the gravedigger situation, but not that much. So I will finish it, but it's just okay. It's just okay. It's quite a straightforward narrative, and it's fine. And I'm about to start my Patreon reading sprint in half an hour, and I'm going to start reading Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. This is under 100 pages, and it's just a story about this man who is in 1985 in an Irish town, and he's on his way. It's like the run up to Christmas, and he's making his rounds, whatever that means, and he's thinking about his life, which sounds very similar to the one that I read earlier this month, but a bit longer, and I'm just looking forward to it. I've heard good things about it, but it seems quite mysterious. Nobody actually says much about the book, but also it's the last clip or the last day of the vlog, so it's about time I chose my tea. And we need day 3 because we're on week 3 of this challenge. It's all the way at the end here. Number 3. Give me the tea. Ooh. Oh, there's 2 teas in here. I didn't know that tea pigs did that. I didn't know that tea pigs sometimes put 2 teas in the same window. I can't drink 2 teas today. Oh no. Are they different? They are. They're 2 different teas. Oh my gosh, amazing. Such good value for money. So, what does it say on the door? The secret behind a really good herb tea: whole berries, herbs and spices. And so we've got 2 trees to try here. The first one is chai tea, which pains me to say, and it says Bollywood on it. Assam tea with spices and cinnamon flavouring. I'm gonna have this one tonight because I'm excited about that. I love everything cinnamon flavoured. And this one is superfruit, and it says bursting with super berries, a fruit and herbal infusion with natural flavourings. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this during my sprints and try it during my first sprint, and then by the time the last sprint comes around, I might be ready for another cup of tea. We shall see. Or maybe I'll save this one for tomorrow and have 2 teas in my next vlog, just because I did this last minute and didn't anticipate there being more than one. Let's make tea, let's read, let's Patreon sprint. Okay, let's try this tea. To be honest, when I saw it being made, it's a delightfully dark colour. When I saw it being made, I smelled the tea bag before I put it in. It smelled delicious. So I'm very excited about this. That's amazing. This is really interesting. I prefer it to the puka chai. I prefer it to the puka chai. This one, it's not entirely trying to be the chai flavour, so it's definitely got the cinnamon and the mix of spices, the blend of spices that make chai chai, but it is still, underlying it all, a black tea, like a normal British black tea. And it's a very interesting fusion of the black tea flavour and then the chai flavours. And I like it. I really, really like it. I would like it to have more of the chai flavour in it, but I strongly suspect, like it has been with all the other Tbh teas, that the more that I let this stew, the more the other chai flavours will come out. So I'm just going to keep reading small things like these. I've got no dust jacket on it now. Enjoy my sprints, which are ongoing. I'm just like hidden myself for a second so I could film this clip and get reading done. Okay, if you can believe it, I did finish small things like these during those reading sprints, and it was fine. It was good fine. I feel like my 3-star ratings are so harsh these days, and it is an indication of still a good book, but just not one that blew me away by any which way or means. So this one actually touched on something that I didn't know happened in Ireland, in historical Ireland, and it happened up until 1966, and it has to do with the treatment of women. So I found that interesting to see a bit more, but the book really, really gently touches on it. It doesn't go into a deep dive, and actually the most I learned about the situation was when I read the author's note at the end where she kind of talks about it in a bit more detail. So now I want to go and research and do a bit of a deep dive to see and learn more about that situation, because I think it's interesting and important to educate yourself, especially as someone who considers herself a feminist, on female history in the different countries when I learn about something new. The writing itself is nice, but it did feel quite like an everyday story, and it could have even been shorter. I think the one that I read earlier this month actually worked for being 50 pages long, and I feel like this could have also been 50 pages long, because sometimes it was just his everyday life that we didn't need to see. But what I did like about this was how it talked about what Christmas is really about and what it actually means to do a good deed and to be brave doing a good deed. And it talks about that again gently. I feel like this book is soft, even though it's touching on some important historical periods and also important themes, but it does it in a way that doesn't dampen the wholeheartedness and the warmth of the Christmas vibe that this story is telling you. I just also think it touches on things that it didn't necessarily need to get its point across. So that's how I feel about that one, but it's day 23 and I've read 25 out of 30 books. I am doing so well, but I'm also, at this point, very ready to be done with this challenge. But I'm going to leave this one here, and I'll be back for the last week of the challenge to see if I do it and finish 30 books in 30 days. If I don't, I'll be so upset with myself because I am so close now. I'm like 5 books away, like literally 4.5 books with how far I am into the Undying of Obedience Wellrest. Oh. Okay, let me know in the comment section down below what is something that has pleasantly surprised you lately, whether that is a book, whether that is a person, whether that is anything random that has pleasantly surprised you, because a pleasant surprise for me was getting 2 teas in my advent calendar, the other one of which I'll try in the next vlog. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!